I felt like a theme a little bit in class last week about impatience in your process. And I hate to break it to you guys, because Sharon can laugh because we are of a certain age, but there is never not going to be a time in your life where you're not going to be in process. That's just life itself. The last time I looked, no generation has had it more together or figured it out more than anybody else. Although it feels like, oh, we have the technology or we have the know-how, but we're still stumbling around in the dark, just like our Neanderthal forefathers. It's so true. So I think, and I think it's sort of doubly that way to be an artist, because we're trying to chase something that at some level is ephemeral. And the more you try to label it and figure it out, the more it escapes you. And so yes, we have to have a construction of something, or the architecture of what we're doing. We understand the language that's involved. We understand how you enter the space and you engage within that world. But then you have to let the mysteries of how things move through you and evoke you do their thing. It's like, I've said it before jokingly, it's like the fairy nymphs of the universe, the trolls and the fairies, right? Like, you have to let the wizards and the warlocks have their way. You must call upon the coven. You have to allow things to do some of the work, actually, most of the work for you. As Jake, I've been posting a lot, Scarlett mentioned, because I've been posting a lot about, I saw this interview with Denzel Washington and Jake Gyllenhaal, and it's not, because they're doing Othello on Broadway. The real trick about being an actor, he was talking about for Shakespeare, but it can be applied to anything, is you have to get out of your own way. That's a common, I don't think it gets any better than being on Broadway and you're hearing actors talk about, you gotta do the work and then get out of your own way. You know it and then you throw it. But I just wanted to come back to this thing about not being impatient on the journey of the unfolding, because it does take a long time, and every time you think you got it, you won't got it. I mean, that's just a theme of life. And I know that because I'm living it in my own life and in the work, but also I've been obsessed with process forever. And it can be maddening, and I want to have the results, and then I understand that my desire to have the results are what keep it at bay. So you try to just go with the flow, surrender more, breathe, allow yourself to have a more enjoyable ride. Also, I think it's like part of what artists need. Artists aren't trying to figure things out. They're actually just asking questions. That's really important to remember. You're just trying to present to humanity, this is what it means to be human. In this little time and space that I have to share what I think humanity looks like and feels for me with you. What do you think? But I talked to a friend of mine, he's a client of mine, and it's interesting because I've known him for a while, and like 5 years ago, so he was at the beginning of his journey, and now, 5 years later, he was in one of the biggest movies last summer. He just shot a huge movie that's coming out this summer. He's like a lot of big things that from the outside, people covet. But here he said the same thing that we're always trying to understand. He's like, you know what? You're never gonna get it. He shows up on set with some of the most famous actors in the world, and you realize he's still the same person he was when he was a little kid. He's trying to figure it out. Is he good enough? Does he know what he's doing? You talk to another famous actor on set and they're like, oh God, this is nerve-wracking. Do I know what I'm doing? These are very famous people not knowing what they're doing. That happens, it's okay. And also I think the acknowledgement of that also gives you space to figure it out. So his epiphany was just about that you're always gonna be chasing this thing. And that's a good thing, to chase it, but not try to pin it down. To chase good work is really what he's talking about. And to know sometimes you're gonna find it and it's gonna be a sweet spot, and then sometimes it's like catching the tiger's tail. It's just always escaping you, right? So I think that's important to remember, that even when the outer accoutrement you seem to have everything that you've always wanted as an artist, you're still gonna come to the set or come to work with I'm not sure. I think one last thing, I was driving yesterday before I was talking about this to last night's class, and I thought, this is so interesting because it's been more than less than a third of my life because of my age now. But when I was thinking about from my first year to 18, as a kid, I was never not okay with being in process. Think about that. Okay, every now and then, maybe when I was like 16, I turned into a little monster and I was like, I can't wait to get out of here. I can't wait to be a freshman. But generally, I enjoyed being a kid. It wasn't driven by, I've got to figure it out. Never actually was it driven by that. Think about your own childhood. Some of you are like, no, Tony, ever since I was 5, I was really trying to figure things out. Or maybe you were because you were curious and you were a seeker and you were like looking for wonderment, but it wasn't from an end results place. Makes sense? So why is it that a quarter of your life or a third of your life, I don't know how old you all are, half of your life, some of you are like 20, you weren't chasing something to get to an end result. You're just enjoying it.